Ayo! And what is up, gang? Thank you so much for joining us once again here on the channel. Tonight, the WWE gave us Sin City SmackDown from Las Vegas, Nevada, but by the time all was said and done, it would truly be the Kevin Owens Show. And we are going to talk about all of that right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do this, baby.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for joining us here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My name is Nick Nightmare. Joining me, as always, is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Baloo the Snowball Microphone. Thank you for joining us here on Sledgehammer TV for this SmackDown Live review, and what a crazy show this was. There was so much that happened here tonight that, and most of it was good, alright? Most of it was good, but if you're a fan of this show, you know I tell it like it is, and you know that my opinions sometimes are a little bit different than the vast majority of you, and that's why you watch, because you want to know what the hell this crazy mind is thinking. And I have a few very big problems with tonight's very, very good show. It was not a bad show. SmackDown Live kicked off with Kevin Owens. As I said, this show was all about Kevin Owens and this storyline with Shane McMahon, which has reached an absolute tipping point by the time we come to the end of this show. Kevin Owens would come out, proclaim SmackDown Live the Kevin Owens Show. He started having all these crazy ideas about what he's going to do with the show, who he's going to fire, who he's going to get rid of, starting with Sami Zayn. You know, very, very intriguing and interesting promo. But it was all to call out Shane McMahon, which was what I expected. Or Vince McMahon, or some McMahon I expected to come out. And instead we get Dolph Ziggler, dressed as Shane McMahon. And now all of this that I've been feeling all amped up and hyped up, and because Kevin Owens is great on the mic and he was doing a fantastic job, and now it just goes away because Dolph Ziggler, I don't understand what the point of this is. Even if this is leading up into this supposed last match with Bobby Roode before his contract expires, what is the point of this? It's not entertaining to me. It's not. It's distracting, and it's coming off as desperate. And if that's what he's trying to do, then he's a great actor, because he looks very desperate to try to get this whole thing over, and I'm not enjoying anything Dolph Ziggler is doing. Kevin Owens did. He thought it was amusing, but that was neither here nor there. Daniel Bryan would come out and inform Kevin Owens that, hey, you guys are having a lot of fun, and that's great. I'm all about some fun, but your fun is coming to an end because Mr. McMahon is on his way, and he wants to talk to you, as we all already knew. So we had this long 15-20 minute interview segment for Kevin Owens, which went absolutely nowhere to tell us what we already knew before the show even began. So there's a little bit of a problem. As good as the segment was, I just didn't understand what the point of it was. This would lead us into the highly anticipated United States Championship Open Challenge match, which was only available to the Perfect 10 Tye Dillinger tonight, and they did not disappoint at all. This match, although I thought was not given an adequate amount of time to really allow Tye Dillinger and AJ to flesh something out, they did a fantastic job. This was an absolutely fantastic contest. It was an athletic encounter between two of the best wrestlers you will ever see. AJ Styles, the best in the world probably right now. I don't care what anybody says, whether it's Kenny Omega or Okada. It's AJ Styles. He is the absolute best at what he does. There is nobody better on the planet. Ty Dillinger has been under the WWE radar for so long. He's been trying so hard to just make anything out of his career, and he's finally made it, and that match is proof of why. This was fucking awesome. This whole match was great. But unfortunately, this match, even though Ty Dillinger, to the best of his ability, would challenge AJ Styles to the brink, almost. Not enough to the brink to really make it as big as I really expected it to be. But he would end up tapping out to a calf crusher from the Phenomenal One, only to have fucking Baron Corbin come out, ruin this whole thing, and announce himself to be next week's challenger for the U.S. Open Challenge. Now, here is a problem. Again, not just that it's Baron Corbin, because I don't want to see this. I'm tired of Baron Corbin. He's nothing to me right now, and him being given a shot at the United States Championship or put into this angle in any way just seems ridiculous to me after you chopped him off at the knees and made him literally the laughingstock of SmackDown. And now you're going to reward him with a program with AJ Styles? Please. What is that? And problem number 2 with this whole scenario, at least in my opinion, is you're taking away from the fun of having the Open Challenge. Half of the Open Challenge was for us to be surprised with who the hell the challenger was. So now 2 weeks in a row you've announced preemptively who the challenger was going to be. I didn't mind it so much in Ty Dillinger's case because this was a special situation where Dillinger tried to answer the call and was screwed over in a way by Baron Corbin, but then would still get to have his match, although not to the best of outcomes, as Baron Corbin would ruin that as well. As Baron Corbin, whenever he shows up, just ruins things nowadays, and I just can't take it. So Baron Corbin announces himself as next week's U.S. Open Challenge not champion. God forbid he wins the belt. I really hope they do not choose this moment in time to take the belt off of AJ Styles, because again, it just makes no sense. Baron Corbin should continue down this spiral, lose to AJ Styles, and just go back to NXT. Go away. Go do something else until you figure out something new. Because this whole Baron Corbin that they have here, that they've done this last year, is nothing. It's a waste. Jinder Mahal comes out with the Sing Midgets and has some stuff to say about Shinsuke Nakamura. I fast-forwarded it. I'm sorry, you guys. I can't deal with it. He's the worst interview in all of wrestling. Anything he says has absolutely no validity to it. He has no oomph in his voice. He's got nothing. He's clearly a corporate paper champion. Nothing that he says matters. So I just fast-forwarded the whole thing. I didn't care what images he had of Shinsuke and how they were trying to mock him or make fun of him, because he is a mockery in and of itself. And for them to allow him to mock a superstar the caliber of Shinsuke Nakamura in any way is a joke in and of itself. The only mockery in that ring is Jinder Mahal having the World Heavyweight Championship title around his fucking shoulders. Alright? So let's go past that. Although, let's just say this one thing very quickly. I did very, very, very much like this year's Hell in a Cell logo. If you didn't catch that, go check it out or go look it up. It was freaking great, and I can't wait to have it on this channel as part of the graphics, because it's a beautiful logo for Hell in a Cell this year. Street Fight! Sin City Street Fight! For the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the New Day go one-on-one against the Usos. This was a great match. This was a good street fight. We hadn't seen anything really like this in a while. A lot of great spots. Big E looked great in this match. He took so bad of a beating from these two and would just look absolutely like the powerhouse that I think the WWE always wanted him to come across as. He looked fucking sharp tonight. Kofi Kingston was absolutely great. The Usos have been on fire for the last few months and continue to show that in this match. This was a very competitive matchup, and I really enjoyed it. It made me harken back to the days of the Attitude Era already in this episode. We will come back to that later on in this, as you probably already know how the show ended. We're going to get to that. But this was a very, very good match. It was a chaotic encounter, there was lots of chairs, lots of kendo stick action. Kofi Kingston broke the kendo stick over the back of the New Day. I'm sorry, I'm getting it confused right now because it's late. We did the Mae Young Classic stuff, and my brain is all a shambles. So please forgive me if some of my stats are a little iffy right here, as the WWE's, recap of this whole thing is just, it's all fluff and bullshit. And one day we're going to go over it and read it word for word, but I can't because I just can't say things like, let's just find this one thing I saw here. Here we go. The Dreadlocked Dynamo as a description for Kofi Kingston. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So we're not going to read word for word. But bottom line is, the New Day would persevere through this street fight and hit the midnight hour on the Usos to win their 4th Tag Team Championship. Here's another problem. The Usos have been so great as of late. There is no other reason to do this other than to pad the stats of the New Day and how many title reigns that they are going to have, and that means nothing. The amount of title reigns really doesn't mean anything. Really. And I don't mean that to take away from Ric Flair or any of those things that, I hold that record dear because he was like the first person to ever really achieve that milestone. But in today's modern wrestling, when you win a title 4 times in 6 months, or in the case of the women's division, you win back and forth 6 times within the 2-month period following WrestleMania, it means nothing how many times. Charlotte's a 4-time champion. Who cares? She's only been here a year. It doesn't mean as much as when her dad did it and held it for 6, 7, 8 months at a time before dropping the belt and then winning it back just a few days later. Only to hold it again for a few more months and then dropping it. It just doesn't mean anything that the New Day are 4-time tag team champions. It doesn't mean anything. And they took it away from a very good and meaningful run that the Usos were on. And I think having them on top as the heel tag team and having whatever babyface tag teams that you can come up with, because there's not many, and we'll get to that later too, to run through. I would much rather see Gable and Benjamin being built up to go one-on-one with the Usos for the title. Or do you want to see the New Day versus Gable and Benjamin? That doesn't make sense. So I'm not happy with who won, but the match in and of itself was very fun to watch, and I enjoyed the matchup. Same cannot be said for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was a decent match for these two girls, but again, this whole outcome just did not make sense. And you had Carmella on commentary, of course. We have to have a superstar on commentary to take every little whatever's there on the commentary team and just take it away. Let's just suck the life right out of the commentary team by throwing a superstar in there to throw everybody off during a very important SmackDown Women's Championship match. Let's do that. Instead of just having her sit there quietly, looming in the background in the darkness with her Money in the Bank briefcase, she's got to add her voice to things. Please. This match was not anything special. There was some good spots in it. The bottom line here is Naomi would fail to capitalize on a big splash, and she would end up going to the outside with Carmella and end up hurting her knee on the ring post, and then Natalya wraps her up in the sharpshooter. Who cares? It was terrible. It was as terrible as my description of it because my brain just didn't care. I look at a match like this, and then I think of what I just watched in that last match, the finals of the Mae Young Classic, and there's no comparison between the two, and that's a shame. So, Natty's still the champion. Carmella still got the Money in the Bank. What was the point of this matchup? I don't understand. Not that I would have liked it if it would have flip-flopped back. I don't mind Natalya getting the run. It just seems too little too late. And it also just takes away from Naomi. Like, she was on such a rise, and now she just can't seem to get it going again? Why? What the hell did she do? Who did she piss off to be kicked down the ladder so low? Almost as low as Baron Corbin, I feel. You were on top of the mountain, and now they took it all away from you. And Natalya's walking around with her friggin' cat buns, and the world Women's Championship for SmackDown. Why? I don't essentially have a problem with it. Again, it just doesn't make sense. Dolph Ziggler comes out again, decides to dress up as Bayley, then comes out and dresses up as the Warrior, which I thought was very disrespectful, being that Dana Warrior was in the crowd. I'm sure she gave her permission to do it, but everything that he's doing is worthless. Like I said at the top of the show, when he came out as Shane McMahon, who cares? It didn't lead to anything. It didn't lead to a match. It didn't lead to Bobby Roode coming out to shut him up. It didn't lead to anything. It was just more of the same. He made everybody scratch their heads a little bit and go, oh, okay, Dolph Ziggler's going a little crazy when he did this the first time. But now when it's just week after week, he's just dressing up as more and more people. He's looking like a fucking idiot. JD called it and said they were going to end up giving him the Damien Sandow treatment, and that's exactly what he's going through. Remember what happened to Damien Sandow right before he left and went to become Aaron Rex in TNA? Not that that went anywhere. But he came out every week dressing up as somebody else. More legendary characters as far as I remember, as he got over the biggest as Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. And then he would stay in those personas for a while. His whole magic that he had with The Miz was that he was the better actor, and he was coming out as more characters, and he showed more charisma, and he was the better superstar. Just like Dolph Ziggler claims to be. But I'm tired of hearing it from him. His shtick is exactly the same. It's like, alright, shut up, get over it, write out your contract, and then go do something somewhere else, and please, stop saying this whiny, I'm the best BS. Alright, because it just doesn't do it for me anymore. Absolutely friggin' useless. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, Benji Gable, they went up against the Hype Bros. Again, babyface tag team versus babyface tag team. Why is this happening? Because we have no tag teams, so I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. But the problem with this match, two problems with this match, not so much Gable and Benjamin, but the time of this match, way too short. For all the interview segments and all the talking that we had to see, and how many times they had to show Daniel Bryan just standing in the back, waiting for Vince McMahon to show up, you took a lot of time away from something that could have ended up being a good match. Can I mention how I hate Mojo Rawley? If I never said that to you before, I'm telling you now. The minute this match started off and he started doing his monkey shit, this gorilla snake move thing, and I just need, go away. I hate you. I hate you. Wipe your little football makeup off and go cry in your beer, because I want you off my television. I hate Mojo Rawley. I hate him. That's problem number one. Problem number two being the match time. This match was not given any time to do anything. Problem number three, Gable and Benjamin need more practice, because they went to go execute their finishing maneuver in the corner, and Gable was not in position to make the tag. He was too far away to blind tag Benjamin, and then he went and had to jump and reach to actually get him. The ref calls for the tag, and Benjamin's still somewhat too close or too far away. It just didn't look as good, and it was not nearly as ready to pull off as some of the stuff he used to pull off with Kurt Angle's son. You know, the adopted wrestler son over there on Monday Night Raw. But we'll have to see where that goes. It was not that great of an outing for anybody in this match with the 3 minutes that they were given. But the interesting thing is problem number 4. We have dissension in the Hype Bros. Not that I give a shit about the Hype Bros as a tag team, but breaking up another tag team when we have no tag teams to begin with. A tag team that was actually over with the kids in the crowd. Not so much over with some of us here, you know, in the adult world with a real brain. But, you know, we understood it. We get it. I didn't like it. You don't have to like it, but I got it. At least it was a solid tag team. But Mojo Jojo, the annoying retard, goes to handshake Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable after the match, and they oblige. And he expects Zack Ryder, woo woo woo, to follow Sue woo woot But he did not. And he said, no, 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 and walked away. So we have the dissension of the Hype Bros. So dramatic. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I just don't. That would be the final athletic encounter of the evening, which I thought was kind of anticlimactic. But we would have Kevin Owens come out once again, and he would finally be confronted by the chairman of the board, Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And to be honest with you, when this whole thing was kicking off, and if you follow me on Twitter, you would know and you would see that I was like, this is lame. This is stupid. This is essentially Vince McMahon telling him not to sue him or he's going to fire him. And that's it. There was nothing more to it. It was just boring. It was overdrawn. There should have been maybe 1 or 2 minutes of dialogue before the important thing happened. But instead we had them just going back and forth, pretty much saying the same thing to each other over and over. Alright, Vince McMahon, one of the more interesting things he said is that he suspended Shane because he didn't rip Kevin Owens' liver out of his stomach and show it to him. Typical Vince McMahon being fucking ridiculous. Alright, but I expect that from him. And he's trying to still be that crazy, sadistic Vince character, the boss that we all know him to be. And I think he showed his colors very well. He didn't look, on the microphone at least, to be in too bad shape. Makes you wonder why he's making such bad decisions if he could still pull off a good promo. Obviously, his functions are still up there. So, there's that. But the bottom line with this is Kevin Owens would get a little physical with the boss. He would nail Vince McMahon with a headbutt after Vince McMahon gave him his word that Kevin Owens could beat Shane McMahon, or any McMahon apparently, without the threat or risk of losing his job. And then he would headbutt Vince, like I said. Blood would be everywhere. We would not get censored. It did not get grayed out. We had some color on SmackDown, and it came from Vince McMahon, which is very, very crazy. That he doesn't allow anybody, and he tries to keep everybody else from doing it. But I'll do it. I'll be the guy. I'll be the guy that causes a stir. It's okay to make Vince bleed, but don't you dare get over by bleeding. I don't understand it. It was great. I mean, once that started, it was, I don't want to say great. It was good. You know, it was intense, and it felt kind of awkward to watch, like you used to get back in the day when Austin used to be there and with Vince and used to raise hell with him. But Kevin Owens would go on to deliver a fucking hell of a splash on this guy. This guy's 70 years old. He's in there, and I don't think he's that good of an actor to really portray as hurt as he probably really was. I don't think they will even announce anything if he really is, because Vince is that kind of guy. He's going to want to keep it under wraps. He's going to just want to make us all believe that he sold whatever he sold to get Kevin Owens over. But therein lies my other little problem with this. Other than the fact that this is going to obviously make Shane McMahon mad, what was the point of this? Kevin Owens is over as shit. He doesn't have to do anything. He's over. He's been over for a long time. You don't have to get him more momentum after what happened last week was already enough. People already see Owens for who he is. I don't mind this version of Kevin Owens and him being so vicious and sadistic, but by doing it to Vince, just to get under the skin of Shane, it's just, I don't know, it just seemed kind of off to me, the whole segment. I didn't really enjoy it to the fullest, I guess, as maybe some of you guys might have. I just didn't see the point of him decimating the owner of the company. He's already threatened to sue and all this other shit. Vince threatens to fire him. He gets the okay that he's not going to get fired, and then he destroys Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon tried his best to put up a fight after he received that headbutt. He would get back to his feet. It was very awkward, and he was like shaking like an epileptic on the floor, and it looked very, very bad. But he would get back to his feet and try to throw a few punches at Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens would just lay him out even further. And then, like I said, ended this whole thing with a splash. Stephanie McMahon comes out all dressed to the nines for the Mae Young Classic thing that's about to go down after SmackDown goes off the air. She gives Kevin Owens a nice little stare down, and then he goes to assist her father. Owens is walking away backwards, watching his carnage in the ring, and all I'm hoping for to really put this thing over the edge is to have Triple H standing there at the top of the ramp in his suit as Kevin Owens is backing up, watching his thing, being all happy and arrogant about it, and then just walks right into the King of Kings. Not that it would have to set up a match or anything, but just his presence and just to see Owens' reaction and to see maybe what Triple H would do. Maybe he doesn't have to do anything. Maybe that stare down after he just looked at Stephanie lead us to maybe an inkling of something that maybe happen in the future. Maybe you can have Kevin Owens versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Why? He loves to wrestle at WrestleMania. He wants to probably do what The Undertaker does and come back every WrestleMania and do his thing. He still loves wrestling. That would be great. And if you start it from here, it has history, it has heat, and it would be fucking magical. So I was hoping to see the game as Kevin Owens was backing up, but as you guys know, that certainly was not the case. SmackDown Live would go off the air, Vince McMahon's face would be full of blood, Stephanie would be mad, and I would sit down and flick my TV over to enjoy the Mae Young Classic. That was SmackDown Live in a friggin' nutshell tonight. I don't understand why also Vince McMahon did not show himself coming into the arena on the, in the limo, traditionally, as he would do. Instead, he's just backstage, randomly talking to Daniel Bryan. How did he get in the building with nobody seeing him? Daniel Bryan's waiting and waiting and waiting for this car to arrive. And then Vince is just back there. What kind of a reveal is that? Lame. That's what kind. Lame. But that was SmackDown tonight, you guys. If you guys missed our review of the final round of the Mae Young Classic, that is up and available live for you guys right now on the channel. So once you finish here, go check it out over there. Even if you watched it before, maybe you want to watch it again because I think it's a pretty good show. I like that one, and I encourage you to go and view it, as well as all the rest of the stuff that we did for the Mae Young Classic. The Mae Young Classic has been a tremendous event, and we covered each and every bit of it, from episode number 1 all the way down to the finals, which happened tonight after SmackDown. Good night of wrestling. I am not without my complaints, as always, but that is what we do here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again. This was another late night and another long and crazy night here on the channel. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, and he wants you to smash that like button. Don't forget to join the Sledgehammer family by joining the Sledgehammer Club. All you got to do is click that subscribe button, hit that little ringity-dingity-ding bell next to it so that you will always get up-to-the-minute notifications when a video gets dropped live on this channel, so you can go watch it and give your eyeballs the greatest pleasure they have ever known. That is going to do it. Don't forget to check Clutch Chairs in the description below. Check it out. Go see if your favorite superstar has a chair available for you. And we are out of here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Good night, guys.